Think you know classic cars? Think again. Today we are diving into the most bizarre, mind-bending corners of automotive history to show you 10 weird classic cars you will not believe actually exist. From vehicles that look like they drove straight out of a science fiction cartoon to one so insane I have hidden its shape in the shadows right now. Yes, that silhouette at the end is a real functioning car. Can you guess what animal it looks like? Stick around until number 1 to find out. Hit that subscribe button, buckle up, and drop a comment telling me which of these fever dreams is your absolute favorite. Kicking off our list at number 10 is a car that proves great and utterly bizarre things come in incredibly small packages. Meet the Subaru 360, nicknamed the Ladybug in Japan and later in the United States. This tiny vehicle emerged in 1958 as one of the country's first mass-produced K cars. It was specifically designed to comply with strict Japanese government regulations regarding vehicle size and engine displacement following World War II, allowing middle-class families to finally afford personal transportation. It looks like a toy. Underneath its cute exterior, featuring a lightweight fiberglass roof and rear hinge suicide doors, the Subaru 360 was a marvel of minimalist engineering. It was powered by a microscopic, rear-mounted, air-cooled, two-stroke, two-cylinder engine that initially produced a mind-bogglingly low 16 horsepower. To keep the total weight down to a mere 900 pounds, Subaru utilized advanced monocoque construction, a technique their engineers borrowed from aircraft manufacturing. Despite lacking power, it featured independent suspension, making it a surprisingly comfortable machine for very crowded city streets. While the Subaru 360 was a massive success in its home country, its introduction to the United States market in 1968 by entrepreneur Malcolm Bricklin was a complete disaster. Marketed playfully as cheap and ugly, it simply could not compete with massive American V8 engines. The final nail in the coffin came when Consumer Reports tested the car and brutally rated it not acceptable. Today, the Ladybug is a sought-after collector's item. Wait until you see our next vehicle, which stretched a tiny footprint into an absolute mutant. Coming in at number 9 is the Fiat 600 Multipla, a vehicle that aggressively challenged the fundamental concepts of automotive proportions. Introduced in 1956, this Italian oddity is widely considered by historians as the world's very first purpose-built passenger minivan, arriving decades before the concept was popularized in the United States. Its appearance is wonderfully bewildering. It looks as though someone took a standard Fiat, grabbed it by the nose, and pulled the front end entirely over the front wheels, giving it a flat, snub-nosed profile today. The engineering behind the Multipla is a masterclass in space utilization and mechanical packaging. Fiat engineers took the rear engine layout of the standard car and completely redesigned the front suspension, borrowing heavier-duty parts to support the dramatically shifted forward weight. Despite being only about a foot longer than an original classic Mini Cooper, this magical Italian jelly bean could miraculously seat 6 adults across 3 rows of bench seats. The rear-mounted water-cooled engine generated barely 21 horsepower, but it provided enough grunt to haul passengers safely. The Multipla quickly became the absolute darling of Italian taxi drivers, large families, and tradesmen alike. Its bulbous teardrop shape has cemented its legacy as one of the most recognizable, endearing, and practical oddities in European motoring history. While it might look like a cartoon character's getaway vehicle to modernize, its space-saving genius is completely undeniable and paved the way for modern family transport. But while the Multipla maximized space, our next contender threw practicality entirely out the window in favor of looking like a bright orange wedge. Sliding into the number 8 spot is the incredibly vibrant, aggressively triangular Bond Bug. Born in the United Kingdom in 1970, this is what happens when you decide that 4 wheels are simply too mainstream and normal doors are utterly boring. Produced by the Reliant Motor Company, the Bug was marketed as a sporty, youth-oriented microcar. Unlike anything else on the road, it was exclusively painted in a blindingly bright tangerine orange color. The entire canopy swung upward on a massive hinge, forcing you to step over the bodywork. Mechanically, the Bond Bug is a fascinating piece of 70s eccentricity that relies on absolute minimalism. It sits on a custom-designed chassis and features a front suspension that utilizes a single wheel, making it a true street-legal tricycle. Power comes from a front-mounted 700 cubic centimeter four-cylinder alloy engine. Because the car weighed essentially nothing, around 870 pounds, that tiny engine could propel the Bug to speeds exceeding 76 miles per hour, making it feel like breaking the sound barrier. The Bond Bug quickly became a massive cult classic, representing the groovy, experimental, and optimistic pop culture vibe of 1970s Britain. Fun fact, the design team later used a Bond Bug chassis as the base to build Luke Skywalker's famous land speeder for the original Star Wars movie. Today, spotting a real Bond Bug at a classic car show is a guaranteed head-turner. If you thought the orange wedge was bizarre, brace yourself for number 7, an electric wedge that escaped from a golf course on Mars. At number 7, we have a vehicle that perfectly captures the absolute panic of the 1970s oil crisis, the Sebring Vanguard CitiCar. Produced in Florida between 1974 and 1977, this vehicle looks less like a car and more like a block of Swiss cheese that was aggressively sculpted in a wind tunnel. It is a harsh, uncompromising wedge on tiny wheels. During a time when gas lines stretched for blocks, the CitiCar promised a revolutionary solution. It was completely electric, becoming the most produced electric car in American history. The anatomy of the CitiCar is as rudimentary and industrial as its exterior design suggests. It was built around a welded tubular aluminum space frame and wrapped in highly impact-resistant plastic body panels, giving it the aesthetic of an industrial-strength trash can. It was powered by a heavy bank of standard lead-acid golf cart batteries tucked under the seats. The top speed was a terrifyingly slow 38 miles per hour, and the range was a generous 40 miles, provided you avoided stiff headwinds and moderate hills. Despite its obvious limitations and glaring lack of modern safety features, the CitiCar sold thousands of units to desperate commuters seeking immediate relief from soaring gas prices. Vanguard eventually went bankrupt, but today the CitiCar stands as a hilarious yet poignant milestone in the early evolution of the electric vehicle. It is the ultimate retro futuristic relic, a stark reminder of yesterday's tomorrow. We are getting weirder now. Our next car makes the CitiCar look absolutely enormous, as it is basically a tiny eggshell you wear like a backpack. Buckle up, or rather strap in for number 6, the Brütsch Mopetta. If you have ever looked at a carnival bumper car and thought you wanted to drive it in highway traffic, German designer Egon Brütsch had exactly the same fever dream in 1956. This microcar is quite possibly the smallest street-legal automobile ever conceived by humanity. Designed originally as a quick novelty for a motorcycle exhibition, it looks exactly like half of an eggshell floating precariously on 3 tiny wheels, providing absolutely zero protection from the elements. The mechanics of the Mopetta are hilariously simple, bordering on the absurd. It is powered by a microscopic 50 cubic centimeter two-stroke engine equipped with a manual pull start mechanism, exactly like a vintage lawnmower. There is no traditional steering wheel. Instead, the driver navigates using moped-style handlebars equipped with basic hand controls. The fiberglass body was so incredibly light that the entire vehicle weighed less than 200 pounds. In fact, Brütsch originally intended for it to be amphibious, though that highly optimistic feature never worked. Although investors were initially interested in mass-producing them, the deal fell through, and only 14 of these incredible little egg cars were ever built. This makes the Mopetta one of the rarest and most expensive microcars on the planet today. Driving one is less about daily commuting and more about surviving an extreme low-speed amusement park ride. It is a bold testament to a crazy post-war era. You might think driving a bathtub is crazy, but our number 5 car is literally wearing a tailored raincoat. Breaking into the top 5 is a car that sounds like it was built in a tailor shop rather than an automotive factory, the Velorex Oskar. Emerging from Czechoslovakia in the harsh economic aftermath of World War II, This vehicle was the brilliant brainchild of two brothers who wanted to create affordable motorized transport. What makes the Velorex so mind-blowingly weird is its body construction. There is no steel paneling or fiberglass. Instead, the vehicle's body consists entirely of artificial leather stretched tightly over a tubular steel frame. The engineering reflects the extreme austerity and sheer resourcefulness of its time. It is a three-wheeled vehicle powered by a series of small, reliable motorcycle engines, most notably air-cooled two-stroke motors. Because the leather-like body was so incredibly light, the Velorex could surprisingly reach speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. However, the deafening noise echoing inside the enclosed fabric cabin made it an intense experience. The canvas panels were attached with snap fasteners, meaning you simply unbutton the panel to fix any damage. Surviving models of the Velorex Oskar are incredibly captivating pieces of history, showcasing extreme human ingenuity in the face of severe resource shortages. They look exactly like rugged little tents on wheels. Now, how much do you think this fabric car sold for at a recent classic car auction? A fully restored Velorex can easily fetch over $15,000 today. Not bad for a motorized raincoat. From a car made of clothes, we move to a car that looks like two separate torpedoes strapped together for high-speed madness. At number 4 is a vehicle that looks less like a car and more like a catamaran boat, prepped for a land speed record, the OSI Silver Fox. Unveiled at the 1967 Turin Auto Show, this Italian concept car was designed to tackle the grueling 24 hours of Le Mans race. The design is absolutely jaw-dropping. Instead of a traditional central fuselage, the Silver Fox features a twin-boom layout, two distinct aerodynamic pontoons connected by 3 large adjustable spoilers. It looks like a futuristic racing spaceship. The dual fuselage design was a functional aerodynamic experiment aimed at creating perfect balance. To achieve optimal weight distribution, the left pontoon housed the 1-liter 4-cylinder engine, while the right pontoon contained the driver's cabin and spare tire. The open space between the two fuselages created a massive channel for airflow, generating incredible downforce and reducing drag to almost nothing. Despite the tiny engine, its radical wind-cheating shape meant it had the potential to hit a top speed of 155 miles per hour. Sadly, the company faced severe financial difficulties and went bankrupt shortly after the Silver Fox prototype was completed. This meant this twin-boom wonder never got its rightful chance to race at Le Mans and prove its aerodynamic genius on the racing track. It remains an obscure, one-off unicorn in the world of classic concept cars. If this twin-torpedo catamaran car had made it to production, would you be brave enough to pilot it? Our number 3 car completely forgot to bring wheels that actually touch the ground. Cruising into the number 3 spot is the Fascination 2DR, a vehicle that will make you aggressively rub your eyes and deeply question reality. Created by designer Paul Lewis, the Fascination looks exactly like a small, streamlined airplane that has had its wings and propellers violently sawed off. Developed in Nebraska in 1969, the Fascination features a sleek, rounded nose, a teardrop cockpit, and a massive vertical tail fin at the back. When you see it rolling down the road, your brain instinctively expects it to take flight. The engineering of the Fascination was just as wonderfully weird as its aviation-inspired fiberglass body. It technically utilizes 3 points of contact but uses 4 wheels, 2 standard wheels tucked closely together in the front like aircraft landing gear, and 2 larger drive wheels hidden under sweeping pontoon fenders in the rear. Originally intending to use a revolutionary solid energy motor, Lewis eventually installed standard 4-cylinder engines. The suspension was unorthodox, designed to bank into corners smoothly, though the hidden wheels made tire maintenance an absolute nightmare. Before the company ultimately collapsed, exactly 5 Fascination cars were built, and miraculously, all 5 still exist today in the hands of dedicated collectors in Nebraska and beyond. They are rolling pieces of modern art, representing a stubborn dreamer's vision of a utopian jet-age future that never quite arrived. Imagine rolling up to a fast food drive-thru in this wingless airplane. The cashier wouldn't know whether to hand you a burger or grant you clearance for takeoff. Speaking of spaceships, our runner-up belongs in Darth Vader's garage. Coming in at a stunning number 2 is a car that fundamentally rewrote the absolute rules of automotive design, the Lancia Stratos Zero. Unveiled by the legendary design house Bertone at the 1970 Turin Motor Show, this concept car is the undisputed king of the automotive wedge era. Standing a mere 33 inches tall, the Stratos Zero is astonishingly low to the ground. It is so fiercely sharp and flat that it does not even have conventional doors. To get inside, you must literally lift the entire windshield up. The mechanical layout was meticulously hidden beneath layers of aggressive geometric bronze louvers. Bertone managed to squeeze a 1.6-liter V4 engine right in the middle of the custom chassis, directly behind the driver's head. The seating position was practically horizontal. Drivers lay so far back they had to physically look up to see out of the massive glass canopy and check their rear view through a tiny periscope system. Every single inch of the Stratos Zero was designed for pure shock value and high-speed aesthetics. The Stratos Zero was a massive industry-shaking success, directly inspiring iconic supercars like the Lamborghini Countach. It was even featured heavily as the car Michael Jackson transformed into in his famous Moonwalker movie. Today, it is universally revered as a priceless masterpiece of industrial design. It is incredibly hard to overstate just how revolutionary this bronze wedge was in 1970. Imagine being the valet handed the keys to this spaceship. We have seen spaceships, but nothing can prepare you for the sheer madness of our number 1 pick. Finally, we reach number 1. The silhouette we showed you at the beginning was not a trick of the light. Behold the Brooke Swan Car, arguably the most eccentric, wealthy person fever dream ever put on wheels. Commissioned in 1910 by an eccentric Scottish millionaire who lived in India, this was not just a car merely inspired by a swan. It was a literal, giant wooden swan hand carved to sit atop a chassis. The car's body features intricate wooden feathers, real gold leaf accents, and glowing, eerie red eyes. The bizarre features of the Swan Car go far beyond its spectacular wooden plumage and luxurious silk-upholstered interior. To clear traffic on chaotic streets, the Swan did not honk a regular horn. Instead, the driver operated a special keyboard that played 8 different exhaust-powered notes. The Swan's beak was hooked up directly to the engine's cooling system, allowing the driver to spray boiling water and steam directly at pedestrians to shoo them away. The rear even featured a valve that dumped whitewash onto the road to simulate droppings. The Brooke Swan Car was so incredibly disruptive and terrifying to the locals that the police eventually banned it from the public streets. It was later sold to a Maharaja who loved it so much he kept it for decades and even ordered a smaller version built. Today, it rests beautifully preserved in a museum in the Netherlands, a glorious monument to automotive insanity. Having too much money and an insane imagination leads to absolute masterpieces of weirdness. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more crazy car history. From the tiny Subaru Ladybug and the fabric-covered Velorex to a literal steam-breathing swan, automotive history is packed with glorious, unbelievable insanity. Which of these 10 weird classic cars blew your mind the most? Would you take the cheese wedge CitiCar or rule the streets in the Stratos Zero? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the bizarre, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more crazy car history. See you in the next one.